Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, it's a part 2 to the Lord Mustereth, the host of the battle. This was a lesson I believe I did Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And I had some other precepts that I had wanted to bring out, but I didn't have enough time to go into it that particular day. So I just wanted to just hit a couple of points, see how far the Spirit allows me to go. I wanted to go through some scriptures or some verses in Isaiah 13, and if the Spirit permits, I had mentioned Revelation 14 towards the end of the chapter. So if the Spirit allows, I'll do a few verses on that. And pretty much I just found this picture, online. It's just different militaries around the world. You have the Egyptian military. I'm not sure if this is Vietnam or Vietnamese. I think this might be either South or North Korea. You have the U.S. You have Brazil here. This looks like Russia. I don't think that's Japan, but I could be wrong. That could be South Korea or North Korea. You have China. And there's many different militaries around the world, and the Lord has pretty much equipped these nations with the military power and the weapons that they need to set off this third world's war, because that is going to be the war to end all wars. And when you read through the scriptures, there are like some interesting things that are said. These things, he says these things, and pretty much the Spirit just works, and just brings these things out, and this is why the words of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, as it says in Psalms, the 12th chapter, that the word of the Lord is like silver purified 7 times in a furnace. Now, if you take silver and you purify it once, it's going to be pure. If you purify it twice, it's going to be pure, even more pure. If you purify it 7 times, that's nothing but the purest of the purest silver. And the Lord's words, have stood the test of time, for lack of better words, So Isaiah 13:1, it says the burden of Babylon. Now people read the word Babylon or the name Babylon, and they're thinking about ancient Babylon, because they were a force to be reckoned with at one time. But this scripture here is not talking about ancient Babylon. Now, I've heard Elder Pastor mention this before, that Isaiah probably thought that it was speaking about ancient Babylon, because a lot of the prophets were back there in the ancient empire. Jeremiah, he probably thought some of those visions that he had, that the Lord showed him, that it was speaking about ancient Babylon, because they didn't fully understand everything. The Lord would show them certain things, but they didn't fully understand everything that they saw and that they wrote. That's why Yahushua told Peter and them, he said that your eyes are blessed. I'm just merely paraphrasing, because you know more than the ancient prophets to a certain degree, which they were some of the ancient prophets coming back. But when they were back then, as the Isaiahs and Jeremiahs and Ezekiels and things of that nature, they didn't understand the things that they wrote. But when the apostles came back, or the disciples came back, which later were called apostles, they understood a lot of things, a lot more than the ancient men did, because the main thing the main prophecy that was being waited upon back then was the coming of the Messiah, because that would kick everything into the next phase. And they happened to see him. That's why Yahushua said, your eyes are blessed. Like I said, I'm merely paraphrasing in the book of Matthew 13. Your eyes are blessed because Many great men and prophets have desired to see the things that you see and have not been able to. You see? So they were able to be at the moment where the man, the Messiah, the Son of the Most High, Yahweh, whose name is Yahweh Shai, revealed himself to the world, but not to everybody, just to certain chosen few. So it says, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see, lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. What is the banner? The banner is the Bible. And this is the standard, for prophecy. This is the standard for the word of the Most High. This is just the standard, period. This is why the Bible has always been the best-selling book ever of all times. Because people know, they may disagree, they may talk shit about it. Even those that are atheists, every once in a while you hear them quoting things about the Most High, about the Bible, this, that, and the other. When they get into a situation of hardship, they'll call out, "Oh God, oh Jesus." Wait a minute, I thought you didn't believe in the Bible. It says, so we are to lift this banner, which is the Bible, upon the high mountain. What is the highest mountain on the planet today? Not highest mountain as far as physically, but spiritually. It's America. They control everything around the world. Now people might say, well, you got Russia, you got China, they rebelling against them, against them. They ain't really complying. Look, man, the world leaders are nothing but puppets. You should learn from the different so-called leaders that were set up around the world that bucked up against the New World Order, bucked up against, progress of getting the resources of that particular nation. And what happened to them? They were put to death because they didn't comply, or they were moved out or forced to move out. Brother just sent me a video of the, I'm not sure what the title is, president or whatever the case may be, of Sri Lanka, fleeing in a big ass ship, him and 2 other cabinet members. I don't know who they were, because when he sent me the video, I really didn't know what that was. There was a military man in a particular car that dropped them off. They were running. They were scurrying like rats, fleeing a sinking ship. Inside joke. And they were running up, and I really didn't know who it was, and or what that was all about. I said, "Damn, brother, I must have missed it. I don't know what this is about. Maybe I missed it. I watched it twice, and I didn't really get it." And he explained to me that was the president of Sri Lanka fleeing. I said, "Oh shit," because another brother had sent me a video of them storming the Capitol, down there. So, nevertheless, America is the one that governs all of the kingdoms or all of the nations on the planet. Revelation 17:18 says, "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." And this, anyone that has a somewhat of a understanding of the scriptures know that this is talking about Babylon the Great, which is speaking about America. All right. And a lot of these scholars, whether they say it or not, have come to the realization and the conclusion that when the scriptures speak about Babylon, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, there's certain cases where, especially in the Old Testament, where it's speaking about America and not ancient Babylon. And in the book of Isaiah 13, it brings that point home. So we are to lift the Bible on the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand. When you exalt the voice and shake the hand at someone, you're telling them off. Why? Because of the blatant wickedness that these devils have done against the people of the Most High. It says that they may go into the gates of the nobles. What are the gates of the nobles? These are policymakers, your senators, your mayors, your different politicians that so-called quote unquote, create policies and laws and things of that nature to govern, America, which is really, they're nothing but puppets, but this is what scriptures are saying, do that, because when you go to particular governments, if you are cursing them out and the people get, either they get afraid or they get in a situation where they get uncomfortable, all they want is to be restored back to that so-called peaceful time where they came from, and this truth is causing a ruckus around the world. It's causing all kind of disturbances and making people feel uneasy, because the truth is never the truth is never pretty, and the reason why I say this is because most people don't like the truth. That's why Yahweh said that people won't come to the light, because anything that comes to the light will be reproved. So the people don't like the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to stay as far away from the truth as possible, because it's too explicit. It's too real. Right? So it says, I have commanded my sanctified ones, which are what? These are the prophets. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness, which is speaking about the angels, the actual angels of the Lord. And that's why Yahushua is coming with a multitude of angels to get busy on these devils. And that's why you see a lot of chariot sightings all over the world, which they call UFOs, UAPs, or whatever they want to call them. Those are the chariots of the Lord, because they're about to get busy. All right. It says the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. This is twofold. It's talking about the armies of the world amassing. It's also speaking about the missiles, nuclear missiles. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the battle. And the Lord of hosts means the Lord of the armies, or I believe is Yahweh Tazabath or Tazabah, which is the Most High of the armies. And he's mustering the host of the battle, because he's gathering all this stuff together. Whatever you see happening on the earth, the Lord is behind it, bringing everything together. All right. It says they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation. So this part right here is talking about the actual missiles. You do have nations coming together to fight, and the majority of these nations, the top nations that are amassing together, all have nuclear capabilities, and the Lord is gathering them together to fight in this final battle, because the scriptures say that this particular battle is not going to be fought like ancient battles. Ancient battles were fought with men on the battlefield, swords, spears, arrows, coat of mail, armor, a whole bunch of screaming and yelling, all type of confusion, blood everywhere. This particular battle is going to be fought with fuel of fire, and that fuel of fire is going to be the missiles being shot off to bring forth the second judgment, or the second death, which is or are the nuclear missiles. All right. And when this happens, and the Lord releases the weapons of his indignation, which there's also a scripture in Jeremiah, either 50 or 51, which goes into it. This is what it says: to destroy the whole land. See, and this is why it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's important to pay attention to what's being said, what the Lord is saying, because he says that when he lets go of his the weapons of his indignation that come from where? From the end of heaven. Meaning from what? They come from a far country. They're going to be shot from different places around the world, and they've come to the point where the technology is so great and so for lack of better words, great, that they've actually been able to accomplish a way to get the missiles from point A to point B in a much faster way. All right, because knowledge shall be increased. And when they come from the end of heaven, when they come from a far country, the weapons of the Lord's indignation to destroy the whole land. Now I looked up the word whole land is kal aratazah, all right, which is the whole. Well, the word aratazah means earth, but we know that the whole earth is not going to be destroyed, pursuant to Ecclesiastes, the 1st chapter, and the 4th verse, which speaks about the earth abiding forever. Once the Lord created things, he didn't create them to be done away with. The only thing that the Lord created that will be totally destroyed and demolished would be the Edomites, which today would be the so-called white people. All right. And not every so-called white looking person is an Edomite. All right. So I have to say that because you have Israelites out there that look like them. You have other nations that look like them. So the Lord's going to destroy the whole land. Now, when you check out the records of ancient Babylon, the land of ancient Babylon, the whole land was never taken out. You could type in right now, modern day Babylon, and you'll still see buildings there. You'll see the certain places that have ruins, but you'll still see today buildings there that are still inhabited, people still living there, people still visiting there. So that whole land was not destroyed. When you go back to the history, true history, mind you, and you go back to biblical history and true history, I say it that way for a reason. You will find out that when ancient Babylon, or the Neo-Babylonian Empire, that was during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, on down, I think it was maybe like I think it was him, maybe one before him, until Belshazzar, which was one of the last kings, or the last king, that was not destroyed totally. All right. It was pretty much just a takeover. Darius the Mede rode up in there under the orders of King Cyrus, which was a Persian king, and Darius the Mede, which was 62 years old at the time, was a vassal king underneath them, because the Medes came up first. They were a force to be reckoned with. But according to biblical scripture and prophecy, the Persians would be greater than them. So when they came there to Babylon at the time where the nobles were having a feast and their wives and all that, showing their ass, the Lord caused them to be taken out that very night. And pretty much what happened was a takeover and a straight up transfer of kingdoms from one hand to another without having to have a long drawn out battle or just a straight up war, period. All right. So the whole land was never destroyed. It was just translated or transferred from the Babylonian Empire to the Medo-Persian Empire, so you could understand. So what does this mean, that the whole land, destroy the whole land? It means just that this particular Babylon, which Isaiah saw the burden of, is going to be totally destroyed from one end to the other. And when we read the New Testament, especially the book of Revelation 18, certain portions of Revelation, well, even Revelation 19 and others, that land, or that Babylon the Great, is totally annihilated and destroyed, so much so that the nations that were making money are going to be in their lands and afar off looking at the destruction and pretty much lamenting because they won't be able to make any money because they blew up their hoe. So it says judgment on the day of the Lord. See, because this is what's coming, the day of the Lord. And that's where the Lord said, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, because these people don't know what the day of the Lord is all about. The day of the Lord is darkness. It's going to be destruction. The heavens and the earth are going to shake. There's going to be a lot of calamity happening. And there's going to be a lot of calamities and things happening, building up to the total destruction and building up to the day of the Lord. In music, I believe crescendo, that's when the music is at its highest peak. In movies, it's the climax, and pretty much that's where everything is just coming all together. It's reaching its highest peak, the epic point, the summit of it all, and then all of a sudden, boom, it drops back down, and that's where we're at, with America, so-called America, Babylon the Great. It says, "How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand; it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty." That's what the day of the Lord is, a destruction, because He's coming to lay the land desolate and to pour upon this place His indignation, which the word indignation means righteous anger. It says, "Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt." You're going to have strokes. You're going to have heart attacks. You're going to have hands being faint. Why? When they see the missiles coming, they see the devastation, they see Yahushua and the angels coming. You've never witnessed anything like this except for on TV or in the movies. You've never witnessed the things that are going to come. So it's going to be a bad time leading up to the very end, leading up to the day of the Lord. And no one has ever witnessed anything like this except for the prophets that seen these things in a vision. That's why it spoke about the prophets, that they got sick in these visions. The prophets, when they saw these things, they were like, "Oh my goodness, I hope that I'm taken care of and protected in that. Who's going to protect me in those days?" Because it's going to be very bad. Unlike what they tell you in these churches and what they tell you in these religious schools and all that, they're not really telling you the truth. They're telling you some BS. It says, "And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them." Now, I happen to see back in 1983, I remember it like it was yesterday, they had a movie called The Day After. And pretty much what it was a movie based off of nuclear war and the aftermath of nuclear war. And when you look at the movie now, reflecting back, that movie was really booty, compared to what's really coming. But at the time, just the thought of nuclear war, the thought of, people getting radiation poison and being burnt up and things of that nature, and how many people may be left, afterwards and all that, was a horrible experience, a horrible thought, a horrible sight. I believe, I'm not sure, I know I've heard Elder Pastor speak about it, that I believe they actually interviewed people, afterwards. People were in bars getting drunk, because that movie pretty much laid it on the line and put people in the mindset and the reality of what could happen during a nuclear destruction. And people were down and out. They were depressed, because that is a depressing situation. And that was, back in 1983. So that was, devastating at the time. But really, like I said, reflecting back on it now, that's really nothing compared to what's coming. That really even didn't do it a great service compared to what's coming now. But it did the job for the moment. And I remember watching that movie. So it says, "They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth." And what is a woman that travaileth? That is a woman that's giving birth or is about to give birth. She catching hell. Them contractions that the Lord put upon them as a curse. "They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames." They're not going to know what to do. All right. And when you read the New Testament, it's pretty much echoes the same thing. Luke 21, Matthew 24, Mark 13, different scriptures in the book of Revelation, Daniel. It's going to be something. It says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger. See, the world does not know or understand who the Most High Yahweh is. They don't understand that he controls both sides, the righteous side and the wicked side. They don't understand he controls the right and the left. You know, the Most High said he creates evil. He brings peace and creates evil. He mustereth the host of the battle. He's the one that creates wars and makes wars to end. You know, he's the one that creates the steps of man. It is not like the prophet Jeremiah said, it is not in man to direct the steps. The Lord directs the steps. The Lord directs the king's steps. These different leaders around the world that are in those leadership positions are known as the kings of the earth today. It don't necessarily mean they have the title of a king, but they have the position that a king would have in their country because they have the final say. Or so it seems to be, because we're finding out that these so-called leaders of these countries, in the forefront, they seem to be running things, but all they running is their mouth, because behind the scenes they have handlers, and those handlers have handlers, and so on and so forth, all the way back to the international banking families. To lay the land desolate, once again, to lay the land singular, desolate. Up top we read to destroy the whole land. Here we're reading to lay the land desolate. America, Babylon the Great. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it, because no one's making it out of here that is not a part of the elect. First and foremost, you have to be an Israelite. Second of all, you have to be a part of the elect. And that's the only ones that's going to make it out of here. If you're not a part of the elect, you're going to be right here on the soils of America, barbecuing, frying. You know, you're going to be a part of that sacrifice. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause the light to shine. Is this speaking about that the moon and the sun, the moon, the stars, and the constellations are not going, that they're just going to be done away with? No, this is talking about from the smoke, the thick ashes and the thick smoke that's going to be coming up. There's going to be certain places of the earth that's going to block out the sun. You ain't going to be able to see the sun or the moon or the stars. You ain't going to be able to see nothing because of this great devastation and destruction. You know, you could read Zephaniah, the first chapter, especially around the 14th verse down. It goes all into that, you know, and what the Lord is going to use to do this is his missiles, you know, the nuclear missiles, and also the lasers from the chariots. That's going to be the icing of the cake. Now, Lord's will, I can probably get to it in the next lesson or so, but in the book of Revelation, it spoke about an angel that had power over fire, you know, and I had mentioned this, you know, I said this is just my personal belief that, you know, when the Lord destroys this place, it's going to be like, because he said it's going to be like when the Lord destroys Sodom and Gomorrah. So you're going to have the missiles flying. That's fire. Yahweh said, I'm come to bring fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? The chariots are bringing fire. And don't be surprised if the Lord causes the Lord has the angels make fire actually come down from earth. From heaven. You know, infusing all these different elements and causing them to come back together and combine as fire, pelting down on the earth like he did during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. Don't be surprised if that happens, you know. So Lord's will, if the Spirit allows, we'll go, you know, to it on the next video. You know, it says, and I will punish the world for their evil, because remember, the first world was destroyed by what? By water. And what did it say about the first world? That the Lord saw the wickedness of man, that it was great upon the earth. You see? And they repented the Lord that he created man. But the Lord had a plan. It says, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will call, and because the wicked are who? The wicked, you have wicked among all nations, but the wicked are the Edomites. And the Lord created them to be such. You know, and they've done a perfect job. You know, I have to say, like, at the time his name was High Priest Yeshaya. he said that, these devils have done a great job. Give the man a hand. In other words, give them a hand. Because they've done their job. But it's not because they're doing it because it's in their power to do it. Even though it is, but the Lord gave it to them. Remember, the scriptures say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You see? And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay the haughtiness of the and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So pretty much the Lord is going to lay these proud ass Edomites down, these proud ass Hamites down, these proud ass Moabites down, these proud ass Ammonites down, and all different nations out there. He's going to lay them down smooth. Inside joke. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold. This is speaking about the Israelite man. Because that's going to be the go-to, And I'm not talking about go-to cola. I'm talking about this is going to be the go-to. The Israelite man, the elect Israelite man is going to be more precious than fine gold. Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. At that day, the elect men of the Lord, the Israelite man, the elect Israelite man of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is going to be more precious than any other commodity. They're going to be the top commodity in that day. And prior to that day, because it's going to be known. Scripture say, and then shall be known who are my chosen. It says, therefore I will what? Shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. So what is going to shake the heavens and make the earth to remove out of her place? The pelting down of those missiles when they hit the earth. And High Priest Ariah, you hear Elder Apostle Gabar speak about it all the time. When he used to speak about it, he used to make the sound effects. And he had that booming voice. How the missiles going to hit. Boom, boom, boom. This place is going, oof. The whole earth is going to be rocking back and forth. And it ain't going to be rocking back and forth because of music. But then again, it is music in the Lord's ears. Because he's waiting to take this place out. But the scriptures say that the Most High is long suffering. And he said, what if the Most High, willing to show his power, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Hey, man, Most High can't wait to get busy on these devils, man. We like, man, Lord, hurry up, dude. What you got to do? Yeah, we want the Lord to hurry up and do what he got to do. We tired of this shit because we just mere in the flesh. But when the Most High gets busy, man, you're going to see a masterpiece at work. You watch these different boxers that are very skilled. Man, the Most High is the most skillful, strategic, chess player, fighter, whatever you want to, say. He is the most skilled. It says, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts and in the day of his fierce anger. So everything is going to shake. There's going to be a straight, big removing of everything. And even in Joel, was it in this? Let me see. Just bear with me 1 second. Right. Is it this one? I know there's a verse in here that speaks about it. I believe there was a verse in here, but you know what? Let's hold off on that. Let's go to the book. Let me leave that because I may need that. Let's go to the book of Haggai, chapter 2. And we recently brought, Elder Pastor recently brought this out, which we used to read this years ago, but so many scriptures that you forget, and the Spirit had Elder Pastor bring it out. Bring it out. Haggai 2:6. For thus saith the Lord of hosts. This is Yahweh of hosts. That means armies. Tazabawath, which are armies. Yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. Yeah, you can read about this in Revelation and different other places. It speaks about that great earthquake that's going to shake and rock this whole earth. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. Yeah, because he's going to strip all of these nations of all their goods and give it to us. And we're going to distribute when the time comes. Esau ain't getting shit. The nations after a 1,000-year period, they're going to get their lands back. They're going to get certain, liberties, you could say. They're going to get certain riches and cattle and all of that. But they're still going to be in subjection under us. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Yeah, and that's what's coming, that great peace. All right, so going back to, was there another precept I was going to go to? But that's the main thing. That's the main point. And that's it. So let's read this last verse again. Isaiah 13:13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts and in the day of his fierce anger. Matter of fact, I'm not going to go into the Medes right now because, this is going to take a whole lot to go into. But I'm just going to go straight to the 22nd verse. And Lord's will, if in the Spirit allows, I do the one in Revelation 14. I can always revisit this and continue on. It says Babylon will fall to the Medes. This wasn't talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about modern day Babylon, which is Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, verse 22, it says, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses. Why? Because this place is going to be totally destroyed. We read about two different scriptures where the whole land shall be desolate. It says, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, because when you read Isaiah 34, which is speaking about Esau. Esau is also the daughter of Babylon. Babylon and Esau right now are synonymous through Babylon the Great. This place, when it's destroyed after the smoke clears, it will be inhabited by desert creatures. Revelation 18, around the 4th verse or so, speaks about it. Right? It says, and her time is what? Near to come. And her days shall not be prolonged. Because the Most High has a timetable. That's Yahweh's timetable. And once the timetable is up, the last grain of sand comes out of that hourglass, it's over. And it's time to turn the hourglass back over. Now begins the next chapter in the book. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Lord's will, if the Spirit allows, I can go into Revelation 14. But to the next time, I say shalom.